Good evening, everyone. So this talk tonight is somewhat introductory, I suppose, but what I really want to do tonight is hit this point that I keep trying to talk about most all the time, which basically is that Zen practice is experiential. Zen practice is something that we do, and that we do it non-stop. So we have formal practice that we do in the Dharma hall, much of which you saw tonight. We do chanting practice, we do sitting meditation practice. The word Zen literally translates sitting meditation. The Japanese word for what we do is Zazen. Za is sitting, Zen is meditation. So Zen is based on meditation. Meditation is also not some theoretical idea. As opposed to some forms of meditation, we give very basic instruction. Paul gave it tonight, took about 5 minutes. Of course, there's more we could say about it, but basically we give 5 minutes of meditation and then we throw you in the pool. And generally people don't drown. The drowning that happens in meditation actually is one's mind overwhelms us and we get drowned in our own thoughts and feelings. At its worst, people have, be extreme to say, ran out of the Dharma room screaming, but people have lost their bearings from meditation practice, especially intense, long meditation. We can easily, well not easily, but sometimes it happens, it's as if we find a wormhole and we fall in our own minds, in our own hearts, and we get lost in our sense of reality. On one hand, we are attacking one's sense of reality, since reality is based on a construct that our history creates. On the other hand, we're trying to create a strong foundation so that we can handle the shift in our consciousness. And if that foundation isn't laid, then rarely, but sometimes, it can be too much. I think we probably all can understand and remember our own experience of getting lost in a thought or a feeling and not being able to get out. Something happens, we remember that event, and then we think, oh shit. And we start to think about all the ways we messed up, or the pain we caused, or the pain we're feeling, and then we get lost in that mind train. I think Paul said when he introduced me that I'm also a psychotherapist, and in psychotherapy it's really easy to see it. It happened today with clients, and it happens quite often, that once somebody starts to talk about something, they'll say how they're lost in this, I guess you could call it a mind train, a thought train, and the thoughts won't turn off. They just continually run, and we can't find a way out of or off of that train. There's a poem that I've talked about before, and it's by Zen Master Bon Soeng. If you turned around and looked at the picture on the right, that's Zen Master Bon Soeng. He lived from the late 1800s to the mid-1900s. And he has this Zen poem where he says, "Everything is impermanent, but there is truth. You and I are not two, not one. Only your stupid thinking is non-stop. Already alive in the prajnaship." The six patriarchs said that everyone already has enlightenment. Enlightenment isn't something you get by doing something. Enlightenment, we could say in this example, is something we already have, that if we can allow the clouds to part, it's already present. It's already here. We already are it. So Zen practice doesn't mean we change to become something. It's more about returning to who we are. We often say, quoting Zen Master Bon Soeng, our founding teacher, that Zen practice is about attaining our true self and helping this world. So that's our focus. We ask this question, what am I? Those of you who come here often on Wednesday nights, you hear this talked about all the time. But the reason we have to talk about it all the time is because we forget. We fall back into our unconscious, everyday style of living, and we forget to keep our great question. We forget to keep our awareness and our openness to the moments that we're living. So we do this chanting practice, we do this meditation practice, we do bowing practice sometimes, we have Dharma talk practice, we have interview practice. In retreats, we do formal eating practice. We also have walking meditation. So those are kind of the outline of our formal practice. And we do that formal practice over and 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 over, ... Zen Master Bon Soeng used to say, for 10,000 years non-stop. In old Chinese cosmology, 10,000 is infinity. So we never stop. And that's really what I want to talk about tonight, is how do we never stop? So, when the Buddha had his enlightenment experience, he laid out the Four Noble Truths in the Eightfold Path. And somebody said to me this week, he said, oh, I get it. There's this Eightfold Path so it can encompass our whole life. And I said, bingo. And I said, maybe I'll talk about that on Wednesday night. I always rely on people to help me come up with talk. So, we say, understand my true nature, or our true nature, and help this world. Helping this world in Zen parlance is the Bodhisattva way. We did this Kwanzaa Bosal chanting tonight. Kwanzaa Bosal is the archetype of compassion. You can't see it in that picture of Kwanzaa Bosal, but sometimes it's Kwanzaa Bosal statue has 1,000 hands. And each hand has an eye on the palm. So each hand can see what to do. You could say it could also have an ear, so it can hear the cries of the world and then respond. That's what compassion's about. To be able to hear clearly and see clearly, to perceive what's going on and have the wisdom to know what to do about it. So the Buddha set out this Eightfold Path to give us a way to practice in our daily life. To practice this Buddha way moment to moment to moment. Zen Master Bon Soeng died before email. Well, there was email, but I think before it evolved to have a signature line. But his signature line on his email would have been, only go straight, don't know. Try, try, try for 10,000 years non-stop. Get enlightenment and help save all beings from suffering. That's practice. That's the whole thing right there. But that's not enough for us. We need a way. We need to use our practice and bring it to every single moment of our life. So I'm going to just read through the 8 parts of the Eightfold Path. First is right view. Second is right thought or right intention. Third is right speech. Fourth is right action. Fifth is right livelihood. Sixth is right effort. Seventh is right mindfulness. And 8 is right meditation. Those 8 things can be applied to every single moment of our lives. Or we can use any one of those folds to keep us on the path. So I'm not going to speak about each of them necessarily, but I want to say a few words about some of them at least, to talk about how they apply in our everyday life. The first one is right view. And it's been said that if we can master, if you will, right view, we don't need the other 7. Right view encompasses all of them. And right view, you can say, actually means no view, or seeing things as they are. Each one of us has a viewpoint. Our viewpoint is a little bit like a pair of glasses that we put on our eyes, or sunglasses. And we see everything through the lens of those glasses. Sometimes somebody will say, I'm an optimistic person. That's a view. And then we view things that happen around us optimistically. But you can hear when we do that, we're altering things. We're painting it a certain way, not as it is. Somebody might say, I'm pessimistic, or I'm depressed, or any number of views. In our practice, we're trying to break through our own particular viewpoint to see things more clearly. If we can remember this fundamental point, then we bring this great question, what is this, to the moment. So, for example, I'm having an argument with a friend or a lover, and I'm thinking to myself, they don't know what they're talking about. Why are they always like that? When one is aware of that thought, that's the place to bring great doubt. Really? Do I know that? Or is that just what I think? So we bring this great question to our viewpoint, and we can open things up. We can see it more clearly. We can perceive more directly if we can get out from behind our own viewpoint. So this first one is really critical. And when Paul gave meditation instruction tonight, and he talked about don't know, not knowing, curiosity, doubt, wonder, these are things to bring to our assumptions and ideas. I think it really comes clear if we have a strong political view. On one hand, it's important to hold our own political sense of things. But at the very same time, it's important to bring doubt, to recognize that my view is probably not completely accurate. It's pretty much impossible that I'm right and the 7 billion other human beings on this planet are wrong. But we live our lives as if that's true, that I'm right and everybody else is wrong. So this right view means question your assumptions, question your ideas, stay open to listen to another point of view, to learn from it, to widen our perspective. There's so many phrases that we have in our language that talk about getting out from our own particular viewpoint. Widening our perspective. Being able to hear what someone else has to say. These things sound so obvious, but we don't do them. And theory isn't enough. We have to do it. And we have to do it day after day after day after day after day. If you read the teachings of the Sixth Patriarch and the Platform Sutra, he's often saying, don't point to the faults of others. Turn your gaze back to yourself. What's going on right now? What am I doing? So the second fold is right intention. How do I meet this moment? When the moment arises, what's my intention? Our usual intention is to be safe and get what I want. And if that's our intention, then we create a world where I'm the most important thing, and everyone and everything else is other, that's there for me to manipulate so that I can have what I need. Beside that contradicting the first fold of right view, it creates a world of strife, conflict, and war, really. So, in some ways we could say the right intention is to live the Bodhisattva way, to understand my true self and help this world. Again, that's not theoretical. The moment appears for us right now. How do I help? If that's our intention and that's our motivation, we respond one way. If our motivation and intention is for me, we respond another way. Even I can say for me, with having spent my adult life with this intention of how can I help, I can still see ways that I'm selfish, that I grab things for myself. That's okay. Just be aware. Just know. So I want to move to number 7, right mindfulness. There's some forms of meditation that are called mindfulness meditation. And I'm sure that's part of what the Buddha's talking about here. But I'm pointing to a different aspect of mindfulness, which is the mindfulness that we bring to each moment of our lives. To remember the Eightfold Path is to remind us to be present and aware of what's happening right now. That's an ongoing practice. Every moment, every day. Each one of us has probably had 10 or 15,000 experiences today. Can we bring our mindfulness to those experiences? We're responding to things all the time. If we're not aware, then we're like, it's basically Pavlovian cause and effect. Stimulus response. I'm hungry, I eat. If you bring mindfulness to that equation, I'm hungry, I'm aware, I choose. No mindfulness, no choice. No mindfulness, then our habitual pattern runs the show. Mindfulness appears, we have the possibility of doing things differently. Moment to moment to moment to moment. Not just once, but 10,000 times. The sixth one is right effort. Right effort plays in right along with right mindfulness. It takes effort. It takes energy to bring mindfulness to the moment. It's not something that we humans seem to do naturally. Maybe we could do it naturally, but we're all adults in this room, close to it. We've already lost our way. I think I've mentioned this before, but they've done studies and pediatricians will say that a baby by around 6 months old has learned how to manipulate their parents. We learn very, very early how to manipulate a situation to get what we want. That conditioning continues throughout our lives. The sad part of that conditioning is that we lose ourselves. We lose something of our authentic nature. We change our character and our way of being in order to manipulate the world to get what we need. Zen practice is deconstructing that so we can return to our authentic nature. Those clouds can part and our true self can manifest. It takes effort. So I'm always talking about this aspect of our meditation practice where we're breathing down into our lower abdomen. The Chinese and the Korean term for this place is Tangen, energy garden. We're breathing into our energy garden. We're making our center stronger. Zen Master Bon Soeng would always poke us right in that area and say, make your center stronger, stronger, stronger. Not rigid, not tight. Flexible, but strong. Resilient. Being able to handle all of the vicissitudes of our lives without losing ourselves. That same Zen Master Bon Soeng said, before enlightenment, a stormy life is necessary. Necessary or not, it's what we all have. He said, after enlightenment, a stormy life is necessary. That's the nature of being alive. The earth is always turning. We're hurtling in space at 1,000 miles an hour. Everything is constantly in motion. Everything is changing. We have to find a way to keep our balance. We have to find some stability and resilience to be able to deal with what our experience actually is. That's right effort. We have to work with it. It's like going to the gym. You have to build the muscle. In this case, it's the muscle of a strong center. Some center that's strong enough and big enough to hold our experience rather than getting bowled over by our experience. There's 3 of these folds right in the middle, going backwards: right livelihood, right action, and right speech. Those are all about behavior, moment to moment to moment. Right speech is very interesting. My own experience, that's the place that I watch myself get stuck over and over again. People talk about how we gossip. We start talking about the faults of other people. That's not right speech. But we do it. Where usually, you can almost say right speech is about, not right speech, is about building myself up and pushing you down. In our temple rules it says, don't brag about your non-existent spiritual attainment. We all puff ourselves up all the time. We want to look so good. We want others to think we're so special. And in that process, we use our speech to tear others down and build ourselves up. Or for me, sometimes it's just that I get a little bit exuberant and I start to talk about things that would be better unsaid. And then later I realize, oh boy, why did I do that? So being aware, bringing that right mindfulness to our speech. Why are you saying it? I think, I'm not going to get the quote exactly right, but the Buddha asked questions like, is it helpful? Is it true? Why are you speaking? And if we can bring our mindfulness to the moment, we can check ourselves. Do I need to say that? Sometimes we're a little bit late, so we need to hear ourselves and catch what we're doing. That's okay, stop. You start spinning things off in the wrong direction and you notice it, great, stop. What's the phrase? When you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Stop. But that takes effort, awareness, and power. So we do the formal practice to build these things so that we can use these things in our everyday life. Again, the main point of what I'm trying to say here is that it's not enough to do it in here. As important as it is to have our formal practice, unless we take it outside this room and actually use it in our own lives, it might make ourselves feel good while we're doing it, but it's not enough to be transformational. Buddhism is a practice and a religion of liberation and freedom. It's not theistic in the sense of giving over to God. It's not about having someone or something else take care of our problems for us. It's about being alive, present, aware, and active in the midst of our lives. Completely connected, no separation. And this Eightfold Path gives us the capacity to practice moment to moment in our everyday life. I've probably said that about 10 times, so you get it? Getting it's not enough. You have to do it. You have to do it. And we have so many opportunities every single day. Grab them. We're often saying, be fearless. Better said, be courageous. Allow your fear to be present because it will be there, but do it anyway. Take care of yourself enough that you have the resilience to do it. You have to, it's a funny combination of being gentle, kind, non-judgmental, open with effort and force. It's contradictory in a way. Be strong and be gentle. Be powerful and be yielding. Basically, we're trying to bridge the opposites and use everything. Every single thing is food for practice. You have to do it. And then just to remember the calligraphy that I often mention, you make, you get. If you don't make, you don't get. If you don't do it, you don't get the results.